Welcome to Reflect with Ed Fassio. Get ready to experience one of the world's first 100% digitally generated podcasts, where we take a step back, dive deep, and strive to learn new things. Join us as we unpack thought-provoking ideas, personal reflections, and inspiring stories to help you stay in the know. Reflect is brought to you by the minds at ByteBrain and powered by emerging technologies from Google, HeyGen, OpenAI, and 11 Labs. Thanks for tuning in. Now, relax and prepare to reflect.
Welcome to Reflect, one of the world's first 100% AI-generated podcasts. Today, we are doing a deep dive into what might be the single most astonishing thing the human brain learns to do. It's the ability to recognize that every single person you meet is running a completely separate mental operating system inside their head.
Exactly. They have their own knowledge, their own desires, and this is the critical part. They can hold beliefs about the world that you know for a fact are just plain wrong.
Okay, let's unpack this. This skill is known as theory of mind, or just Tom, and for, well, most of human history, we just took it for granted. But scientists are now realizing this simple idea that other people have different minds is the very foundation of our complex societies.
It is. Formally, theory of mind is it's the ability to infer the invisible stuff going on in someone else's head.
Their beliefs, desires, that kind of thing.
Their beliefs, their desires, what they intend to do, their emotions. You need it to navigate basically anything more complicated than just a simple reactive interaction.
Can you give us a concrete example, like for a kid who's just developing this?
Oh, sure. Just think about the daily chaos in a family home. A child needs Tom to explain what seems like totally baffling behavior.
Like what?
Like, why would mom choose to eat a disgusting piece of broccoli when there's a perfectly good slice of chocolate cake right there?
Right. To a kid, that's just insane.
It's insane. And the only answer that makes sense is that mom desires to be healthy more than she desires the cake in that moment. It's a desire the child doesn't share. Without Tom, her choice is just bizarre.
And this one skill, it underpins everything.
Everything we consider complex about us. We're talking about the basis of empathy, morality, which requires you to predict how your actions affect someone else.
Even effective deception.
Effective deception and even appreciating fiction. You have to willingly suspend what you know to enter a false, shared reality. The social world is just a mystifying mess without it.
And our mission today is to dig into the new puzzle of how Tom develops, because the classic picture we've had for decades, it's kind of unraveling.
It really is.
And then we're going to pivot this very human skill into the world of AI to show you how researchers are literally translating it into code to build AI partners that can actually collaborate. So let's start with the classic benchmark, the gold standard for measuring this, the false belief test.
The ultimate test of whether you can separate what you know from what someone else knows.
Let's use your milk scenario. Mom puts the milk in the fridge. She leaves the room. While she's gone, you move the milk to the kitchen table.
Okay.
The critical question you ask a child is, when mom comes back, where will she look for the milk?
And this test, in all its different forms, became one of the most reliable findings in developmental psychology for decades. The pattern was so clean, it became diagnostic.
And what was that pattern, that predictable profile you'd see across different cultures?
You'd find the kids around age 5, they almost all get it right. They say, Mom will look in the fridge.
Because that's where she believes it is.
Exactly. Even though the child knows that belief is false, the kid can hold two conflicting ideas in their head at once, the truth and mom's belief.
But if you ask a bright, really talkative 3-year-old the same question,
They confidently fail. They'll say she's going to look on the table.
where the milk actually is.
Yes. They just can't stop themselves from projecting their own knowledge onto mom. So passing this test around age 5 became this signature of typical development. And delays in that specific skill are often associated with conditions like autism spectrum disorders.
And it really seems like a uniquely human thing, too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, non-human animals have incredibly rich social lives. They get hierarchies, they read intentions in the moment. But they never quite seem to master this flexible understanding of a false belief. It looked like a key evolutionary step.
So you have this neat and tidy picture. 3-year-olds fail, 5-year-olds pass, case closed. It's so satisfying. But I'm guessing it didn't last.
Not at all.
So here's where it gets really interesting. What was the evidence that just threw a massive wrench into this whole consensus?
The wrench came from looking at what babies do before they can even talk. It came from infant gaze studies. So instead of asking a question, you just track their eyes.
Where they look, what surprises them.
Exactly. Where they look in anticipation of something and how long they stare when something unexpected happens. And this data just blew up the timeline.
How so?
We found that infants, before they can talk, we're talking as young as 13, 15 months old, their eye movements show they expect people to act on their false beliefs.
So, in the milk example.
They'll look towards the fridge. They anticipate mom will go to the fridge, even though they just watched you move the milk. They seem to have an implicit understanding.
Wow. So that's the paradox, right? You have these pre-verbal infants who are successfully making these inferences, but then the articulate 3-year-olds fail when you ask them with words. How does language get in the way?
That's the million-dollar question. I mean, the first guess was, okay, the verbal task is just too hard. Too many details. Maybe the question is tricky.
So people tried to simplify it.
Hundreds of studies tried. They used puppets. They asked, where will she look first? And none of it made much of a difference.
And I love this detail, the lengths kids will go to just to avoid saying someone has a false belief.
Oh, it speaks volumes. When researchers showed 3-year-olds a video of mom looking in the wrong place, the fridge, instead of saying, oh, she made a mistake, they'd invent these elaborate explanations.
Like what?
They'd say, oh, she must not want milk. She wants orange juice.
Yeah.
Or maybe she just wanted to check if the fridge was cold. They actively work to avoid the idea that she acted on a wrong belief.
The mental gymnastics are incredible. So this huge gap in behavior led to a new theory.
It did. The leading idea now is the two-system hypothesis. It says there are 2 totally different ways the brain handles this.
Okay.
First, there's implicit TOM. That's the baby system. It's simple, super fast, efficient, but it's limited. It's really just for understanding actions about things right here, right now. It's reactive.
And the second one?
That's explicit TOM. This is the one that develops later. It's much more powerful, it's flexible, and you need it for, deliberation, morality, complex language. It lets you think about abstract beliefs, not just where the milk is.
A two-system model always sounds clean, but don't critics sometimes say that's just an easy way out for data you can't explain?
That's the main critique, yeah. Parsimony. Why invent 2 systems when maybe one system is just slowly maturing? The critics argue that the verbal task just requires more executive function. You have to inhibit hold things in memory.
And maybe that's what develops late, not Tom itself.
Right. But the proponents say, look, the gap between a 15-month-old anticipating action and a 4-year-old who can't even talk about it, that suggests a deeper shift. It suggests new dedicated brain circuits are coming online.
Which brings us perfectly to the hardware. If this explicit system is maturing slowly, we should be able to see that in the brain. So where does this social thinking live in adults?
In adults, the command center is a specific set of brain regions, but especially the right temporal parietal junction, or RTPJ. Neuroimaging shows this area is spectacularly specialized. Its main job is to think about other people's thoughts.
But here's the second mismatch then. If kids are passing the false belief test at age 5, you'd expect the RTPJ to be specializing around then, right?
You would think so, but the data shows key changes happen much, much later. In kids from 5 to 8 years old, the RTPJ is active when they think about anything to do with a person. Their thoughts, sure, but also their appearance, their background.
It's just a general person stuff hub.
Exactly. It only gets its adult-like, highly specialized function focusing just on thoughts and beliefs around age 9.
Wow. So that timeline from age 5 to 9 strongly suggests that the full, robust, explicit TOM system is housed in that slowly developing region.
It does. It fits better with the idea that things like moral judgment and deep strategic planning take years to really build out. Now, we do have to admit getting fMRI scans on kids under 5 is incredibly hard.
They have to stay perfectly still.
Right. So while we have some EEG data pointing to changes around age 4, the picture is still complex. The brain seems to be fine-tuning this skill well into late childhood.
Okay, so we've got this messy, staggered development, early implicit skill, late explicit words, and even later specialization in the brain. Let's now take this very human skill and see how it translates into code.
This is where people like Rebecca Sachs and Josh Tenenbaum at MIT are doing fascinating work.
The goal isn't just for AI to react, but to predict, right, to predict emotions before they even happen.
Which is really the hardest part of human emotional intelligence. They built a computational model to predict complex emotions like joy, regret, or fury.
And how did they test it?
They used scenarios from a British game show called Golden Balls. It's basically a high-stakes version of the prisoner's dilemma. 2 contestants have to choose to either split or steal a big jackpot.
And the emotions are intense.
Oh, incredibly. You might feel deep regret if you choose to split, to be fair, and the other person chooses to steal.
So for an AI to predict regret, it has to figure out not just what happened, but what the person expected to happen. That's the invisible mental state.
Precisely. The model has 3 parts, but the first one is the key. It's called inverse planning. It works backward from a person's actions to infer their beliefs and preferences.
So if a contestant steals,
The model infers they probably did that because they either expected to be betrayed or they saw a chance to maximize their winnings. It reverse engineers their motive. Then, the next parts of the model compare that expectation to the real outcome and predict the resulting emotion.
that's basically building a predictive mental grammar for the AI. But here's where it gets really actionable for everyone listening, is how this all relates to using tools like ChatGPT. People talk about prompt engineering.
But the real secret weapon seems to be theory of mind.
Tell us about that MIT study.
It was a huge study, and it found something really shocking. Your ability to collaborate well with an AI is almost completely independent of your ability to solve the same problem by yourself.
The correlation was that low.
Shockingly low, like 0.15. Your raw problem-solving IQ is not what predicts success when you're working with a large language model.
So if it's not IQ, what is it?
It's theory of mind. It's the social skill to anticipate what the AI knows, what it doesn't know, and what information it needs from you to actually do its job well.
So it's about perspective taking, thinking, what does the model believe my goal is right now?
Exactly. And people who did that saw their results improve dramatically. It completely reframes prompt engineering. It's not a technical hack, it's a social skill.
That has massive implications for business and training. I mean, if you want better AI outcomes, maybe you should be training communication and perspective taking, not just syntax.
It explains what they call the collaboration paradox.
Yeah.
Human AI teams don't always do better than a human alone, and that's usually because of a lack of mutual tom. We misunderstand the AI's output, and the AI misunderstands our goal.
So the solution is creating a shared playbook.
A shared playbook to align your intentions. Now, whether the AI truly understands or is just doing incredible prediction is a whole other debate. But for teamwork, that predictive tom is often good enough.
Okay, before we wrap up, we have to touch on the academic history here because it frames all of this research. The East Pole-West Pole divide.
Right, this is the classic intellectual battle in cognitive science between nativism and empiricism. The East Pole, MIT, Harvard thinkers like Rebecca Sachs, Steven Pinker.
They're the nativists.
They are. They argue that core knowledge, including the basic framework for Tom, is largely innate. It's hardwired from birth.
And the West Pole.
That's more UCSD, Berkeley. They're the empiricists. They believe that complex skills like Tom emerge from experience, from learning, from the environment. It's not prepackaged.
And the name has a funny origin.
It does. Jerry Fodor, an East Pole guy, coined it by calling a researcher a West Coast theorist, not realizing the guy actually worked at Yale.
On the East Coast.
Yes. But it shows how deep the divide was. Of course, now most people are somewhere in the middle. Almost nobody believes in a total blank slate, or that everything is pre-installed at birth.
So to bring this all together, we started with this incredible social leap kids make, which led to a paradox between what infants know and what toddlers can say.
We track that to the slow, late development of specific brain circuits, the RTPJ.
And now we see that exact same human insight being used to build AI that can predict regret in a game show contestant.
And we learned that this deeply human social skill is now the key to working with the smartest machines we've ever built. But that brings us to a final sobering thought. That Media Lab study.
The cognitive outsourcing.
Yes. When people used generative AI, they showed less mental engagement. They were outsourcing the hard thinking, even though they felt like they were doing better work.
That's a powerful warning. The biggest shift here isn't AI replacing us, it's co-evolution and our unique human social intelligence. Those muscles risk atrophy if we just let the machine do all the work without engaging our own perspective-taking skills.
If we let the AI do all the anticipating and planning, we stop growing those parts of our own minds. Theory of mind isn't just about understanding another person anymore. It's about learning to share our minds with these non-biological systems without losing our own cognitive fitness in the process.
Theory of mind is the API for the future. Thanks for listening to the Reflect Podcast, where we're telling the future. Are you in it? Visit reflectpodcast.com and share your story.
In the cyber ocean of online voices and recycled content, something different has arrived. Reflect isn't just another podcast, it's the future of storytelling, powered entirely by AI. From curating data to assembling thought-provoking ideas, we've redefined how journeys are told. Reflect is a podcast that thinks, learns, and evolves with each episode. Every tale, every insight, crafted by the most advanced AI technologies. A podcast that disrupts the industry, breaking free from traditional formats, taking you on an entirely new experience. So tune in now and reflect. We're telling the future.